Mr. Balachandra Natarajan, or as people fondly call him, Mr. Bala. He's a seasoned business leader and founder of Quick Leap Consultants, where he helps entrepreneurs and their leadership teams to build scale rapidly. With deep expertise in building systems, processes, performance metrics, and governance frameworks, he enables high-growth, new-age tech organizations to navigate complex challenges, accelerate growth, and establish robust operational foundations. Previously, Mr. Bala served as the Senior Vice President and Chief People Officer at Ola Group, serving as Chief HR Officer across Ola Electric, Ola Consumer, Krutrin, an AI company. At Ola Electric, he played a pivotal role in building the company from a disruptive startup to an IPO. He led hiring across leadership, technology, engineering, manufacturing, sales, and the broader organization. He also led HR across Ola Consumer, Krutrin, an AI company. Prior to Ola, he was a group director at human resources at Coffee Day Group, where he led HR strategy across diverse businesses, including coffee, logistics, hospitality, financial services, technology, pharma, real estate, timber, and furniture. And early in his career, Mr. Bala held multiple leadership roles at GE Healthcare, including Vice President for HR for Asia Growth Markets and Organization and Leadership Development Leader at the International HQ in Paris. It is our honor to welcome Mr. Bala to address the gathering on scaling dreams, building world-class talent in innovation, technology, engineering and design, and the importance of catching this goal.
I know it's going to be really tough to be able to be awake soon after lunch, after listening to KK. I'm having a big challenge of either showing you some 300 slides or do some storytelling. What would you like, 300 slides or storytelling? Okay. Good. I don't have slides. Okay. I don't have any slides. First of all, I'd like to thank Partha and Ritvik. Partha and me were classmates many decades back. I don't want to tell you the years, but many decades back. And we worked together, we studied together for about 2 years, 11th and 12th grade. And I've always admired him from far. We met very recently, but like CCD, Siddharth, who built the whole coffee culture, or Bhavesh, who's trying to build the EV ecosystem in this country, or other entrepreneurs that I've worked with, these companies and these entrepreneurs are ahead of the curve. They think ahead of times, and which is very important. And that's why I admire Partha for, it's almost 30 years now since CAT Center. And I think amongst all our classmates, probably he's the only successful entrepreneur that we have in the class. Those days, class sizes were very small. We were only 90 people of all sections put together, or even less. And Partha has been very steadfast building this company. So I'm really proud to be his classmate. And I think there's a huge opportunity ahead. And to be able to take this to the next level, and having worked with some very brave, very audacious, very risk-taking entrepreneurs, I am very confident that CAD 2.0, as Ritvik likes to call it, is going to be also built at half-time. The challenge to Ritvik is to build what Dad built in less time and larger scale. Speed and scale is something that I've learned, and maybe I'll talk to you about that. So really glad, Partha, to be here, and thanks Ritvik to organize all of this. I was thinking and asking some of the people here, what is it that will really interest all of you? Especially after lunch, how to keep you all awake is one objective. But the main objective is to add value. What is it that you can take back home? Yeah. And let me start with India, and I'm sure all of you know about India, how it is growing, how there are opportunities in India, how there are many spaces, white spaces in India, which are not addressed at all. There are many growth areas, opportunities that are there. Now, for me, having spent time at Asian Paints over 5 years, one of the awesome companies in the country, which is an Indian multinational, to spend time at Coffee Day building it with the entrepreneur, or with Bhavesh at Ola Electric. I think one of the things that most entrepreneurs do well, which I shared with you all about Partha and others, is your ability to dream big. There will be ups and downs. When I was in, 98, I think, I used to be in Standard Chartered Bank. We built the credit card business. For the first time, we built the card business in this country. Credit cards were not even allowed to be used when you travel overseas. We fought hard with RBI to ensure that credit cards are easily used overseas. We used to put presentations to the Asia Pac team in Hong Kong. And we used to call India as a tiger country. I'm talking about 98, 99. India as a tiger country. This tiger was sleeping all this while. But if you really reflect on the last 5 years or 7 years or even 10 years, there's so much that's happening around us. Now, the speed at which it will happen in the next 5 years, 10 years, it'll be mind-boggling. I can assure you that. And those of you who are sitting here, you should not feel or regret 5 years from now that I missed a big opportunity. And to be able to cash in on that opportunity is what I want to talk to you about. Having seen entrepreneurs very closely and having built companies very fast, how to get things done. Because we all have a dream, we all have strategy in our head. The biggest weakness in this country is execution. What we say inside the conference room, what we say inside a boardroom, what we discuss one-to-one in a meeting, seldom gets done. And everyone comes back saying, talking about all the constraints that are around us. There will be constraints. The first thing that most entrepreneurs I've worked with is to work with a very non-constrained mindset. Right? For example, I'll give you an example because I don't want to give you English in theory, right? I'll give you an example. So, this is April 21. I joined Ola Electric. I joined the group, Ola Group, but I went to the Ola factory. There were some 10 pillars. August 21, we are supposed to inaugurate that plant. And I'm there on April 29th, which is when I joined. I went with the CFO because he also joined with me, because it was a new company. There were 30 people in the company at that time. When I left, there were 7,000 odd people, 3.5 years later. So I went into the plant, several hundred acres of land, and the CFO and me were walking around, and I was about to leave. And the project head came to me and said, "Sir, can I talk to you for 2 minutes?" I said, "Sure." He said, "Sir, I know you are chief people officer. I know you're going to work with Bhavesh very closely." "Oh, pagal hai, sir." You understand the word pagal? He's a madman. He's a madman, and you don't become a madman, right? I said, "What do you mean? Can you explain it to me?" He said, "No, sir. I have been in..." Thank you, KK. Catch up soon. Thank you. Not at all. No, we'll tell you the story later. Sure. So he said, "You don't become pagal, you don't become a madman." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "No, sir. All these factories take 2 years to build. And we are on April 29th or May 1st, and there are only 10 pillars. I have to put 120 pillars. I have to put the flooring, I have to put the roof, I have to put all the machinery, and have it inaugurated on August 15th. Right? Because Bhavesh had given a target saying August 15th, the plant will be dedicated to this country. Because we were building the first largest EV plant in this country. Right? We also don't know. There's so many unknowns, right? Even the entrepreneur does not know when he starts something. He doesn't have all the answers. There's so many unknowns. So I said, first day, I know I'm in the factory, and therefore I just listened to him, and I came back, and we used to go there every week. And this was all peak of your second wave, third wave of, what's that called? COVID. But the factory was being built during COVID time. The product was being built during COVID time. How did we do that? So we will go there every week. Every weekend, I'll get a call at 7 o'clock from Bhavesh saying, Bala, can you come to the HL? I live in Bangalore. The headquarters is in Bangalore, although the factory is in Krishnagiri, Pochampalli. So he'll call at 7 in the morning and say, can I see you at the helipad at 8:30? So 8:30, I will run to the HL helipad. Both of us or maybe 4 others will go to the factory on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. We are there because workers are working. The team is working because you're chasing an end date. And we went once, and during peak of COVID, this was, I think, June maybe, and we were very slow in the construction process. So we were actually very tough on this project head, and very, very tough on it, to the point that saying that if you can't do it, you can leave the office now. That's the level of conversation. No, he said, sir, I need help. He was very bold. You need courage from employees as well. Employees who are competent also speak up, right? And you should allow them to speak up. So I said, okay. I took him aside and said, what do you want? He said, no, sir, I need help. We wanted 1,500 workers every day. And there are 1,000, not even 1,000, there were 800 workers that day. If I get 1,500, I can do X number of pillars every day. And then one team can do the flooring, one team can do the roof and all that stuff. So we said, okay, what is the bottleneck? Who is doing the pillars? He said somewhere concurrent engineering. If you recall, he meant it slightly differently. But here what we did concurrent building of the factory. Which means as you keep putting the pillars, 100 pillars, another company was doing the roof, another company was doing the flooring. So we said, who is doing the pillars? He said, sir, L&T is doing the pillars, URC is doing that, X company is doing this. So we said, okay, what is the issue? The issue is that 800 people on ground while I need 1,500. So what happened to the others? The others are all sick due to COVID. And half the guys have run away from here because COVID is spreading. So we spent time and then we said, okay, let's call. There's a very famous guy at L&T called SNS. Do you know him? Do you know him? Do you know why he's famous? 90 hours of work life. How long will you keep staring at your wife? All that stuff, right? So we spent some time together as a team and we called SNS. We didn't go to manager, general manager, vice president, senior vice president. It's directly called SNS. We said, we need 2,000 people on ground. The logic being, if you put 2,000 people on the ground, 1,500 will come to work. The other 500 can go and fall sick. And so you have to solve the problem of the line manager. And we gave him approval and we said, go get 2,000 people. It's not easy to overnight get 2,000. Over 3-4 days, they managed to add another 500 people. So you problem solved for a particular, the constraint that the project head was going through, right? At another point in time, I was having this conversation with Bhavesh, with my team, 8-10 people from HR, the CFO, the manufacturing head, and we went with a business plan of the factory construction ke baad, how do you start production, right? So we talked about people and we said we will have 70% men, 30% women. And when we were discussing this, within half an hour, Bhavesh got very upset and he left the room. He left his own office. We were sitting inside his office and he left the office. Right? I got very upset. I said, what is this? The whole team is here. We've done PhD on how to build this factory. We went and met Ashok Leyland. We went to Titan. We went to Tata Electronics. We went to all the automobile companies in Hosur Belt. We've done PhD on how to hire people. And he's not listening to us. Right? Then they said, no, he'll be downstairs. You go pick up chai from Chai Point and you go sit with him in the garden and catch up with Bhavesh. He'll come back after half an hour. He must be upset with you, but you go meet him. So I went and met him in the garden, right, with coffee, chai cup in my hand. I said, sorry, Bhavesh, I don't know what upset you, but I want to spend a few minutes to understand what happened. He said, no, Bala, I have not inducted you properly. Sit down. So we sat on the lawns. And he said, have you read my, it's called Manifesto, Ola Manifesto. If you Google Ola Manifesto, you can read it. He said, have you read my manifesto? And I don't like to operate with constraints. And why are you saying that you will have 70% men, 30% women? Imagine 5 years from now, imagine this factory 10 years from now. He's thinking ahead, right? And we are all solving, as managers and leaders, we're all solving everyday problems. And he's thinking ahead. He said, Bala, you're doing benchmarking with all these good companies, and you're telling me housing practice of Titan is very good, the uniform practice of X company is very good, food and canteen in one company is very good. But you're not telling me what will Ola be good at. Then he made a statement, why will CEOs and CHROs call Bala and benchmark Ola? Right? That's the word he said. Why will they benchmark you? You are going and benchmarking. Tell me why we will be benchmarked. I said, I got it. And he said, okay, now go back to the team. I will come back in 10, I'll cool down and come back in 10, 15 minutes. He cooled down and came 10, 15 minutes later. Evening 6 o'clock, we started the meeting, finished at night 12:30. By 12:30, the team said we'll do 70% women, 30% men in the factory. So night shift. Not yet done. Story is incomplete. Right? We all said, sir, I think we can do 70% women, 30% men. Because we were always thinking of the constraints as line managers, right? I don't get women in diploma colleges. I don't get women in graduate colleges. Right? They cannot work night shift. They cannot lift a heavy equipment. 100 reasons why we cannot have women. He got up at 12:30. He said, I'm happy that you're doing 70-30, but let me put a problem statement. All entrepreneurs like to put a problem statement. On the board, he put one problem statement. If we were to build a 100% women plant, how can we solve for it? I give you 10 days, go and find a solution for 100% women factory. First time automobile industry, 100% women plant. In 10 days, the same PhD thesis was rewritten, and we wrote a thesis for how to make it a 100% women plant. My team did it, awesome team that I had. And today, that plant has 4,000 girls of 18 to 22 years old, zero skill set. 18 to 22-year-old, zero skill set. First time in a plant, first time in a factory, first time learning discipline, first time saying that I have to come on time, I have to leave on time, I have to have quality consciousness, I have to exactly do what my process note says, right? And when I left, Bhavesh was saying, Bala, 5 years from now, imagine that place, it have 10,000 girls. Because the next to the scooter plant, we have built the lithium-ion plant, the first lithium-ion plant in the country. None of us used to, know what lithium-ion was. We all learned every day, night at 10 o'clock, he will call a PhD guy and ask him to teach us lithium-ion. So I built literally the lithium-ion R&D factory. He said, Bala, you seem to have a lot of time. Others are all busy. Can you go build a R&D lab? ABCD of lithium-ion, I didn't know. I'm not a chemistry student. I'm a HR guy and a people guy, right? But I went and built that R&D lab, which was supposed to be 1 year lab. We got it done in 6 months. Because speed at which you do takes you away from competition. CAD Center is ahead. Because you thought about it ahead of time, you executed scale and size ahead of time, right? Now you have to reinvent yourself for future need. That's a different story, right? But it's so important that speed and scale, I hope with these examples you're able to relate to, how do I problem solve for speed and scale? I can have very big dreams, but people on the ground don't relate to your dreams alone. They want solutions and help and support to execute something. Yeah. So these are some examples from the Ola context. And then one more, last one from there is we were with the sales team. I was in a meeting with the sales organization, and the entire leadership team was there. The sales head had done the same mistake like me, benchmarking. Right? This word benchmarking, I have started hating it. What did he do? He went and did benchmarking of all the automobile companies in the country and came back and said, 8 to 10% you have to give as distributor margin, and we will use distributors because all automobile companies use distributors. Here, this man meaning Bhavesh, the entrepreneur, is thinking very disruptive. He has a disruptive mind, right? He wants to challenge the status quo. He wants to challenge everything that is being done the way it is being done. Why are we doing it this way? Right? So we got angry with him. We got upset with the sales head, and again the meeting was reconvened, like my meeting in HR. We reassembled, and then he asked one simple question: if a two-door refrigerator of 6 feet can come from Amazon and Flipkart home, why can't a scooter come home? Right? It's a problem statement, right? And he said, go solve for it. Which means what? No dealers, no distributors. I will send the scooter home. Okay, you can send the scooter home. But a product like scooter, people want to try it, test it, drive it, all that. So we said, okay, we'll send the scooter home for testing and driving. It was called home ride, and you can book a test ride. It was called a test ride. You can book online test ride. It will come home. Someone will bring it home. That is how we started. And quickly we learned that omni-channel is the way to go, because e-commerce in this country is only about 8% of the sales of any product is about 8 to 10% is through online. Baki, we all still go to a store. I still like to feel my shirt. I still like to feel my bindi when I buy my bindi, right? We all like to do all of that. So then we started the stores. After a year of home ride, test rides at home and delivery at home, we started the stores, but we said we'll do company stores, not dealer distributor stores. So you save that 6%, 8% margin and all that stuff. Anyway, to cut this long story short, one of the things that as entrepreneurs, which you may want to take away from this is, how can I challenge the status quo? Because if you don't challenge it, no one else is going to challenge it. Your subordinates are not going to challenge it, right? So you have to constantly keep reinventing yourself and ask yourself, how can I take my center in BTM? I met that lovely lady at the lunch table. I don't know where she is. BTM, I forget her name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She's somewhere here. And she said, sir, I am doing 15 people, 20 people center. And the question to ask is, how can I do 40? Right? If you were to ask yourself, how can I do something that is not doable? How can I do a stretch? Right? Then you will say, okay, constraints are out, let me solve for it. It's an attitude and a mindset. It's not knowledge. Sometimes knowledge comes in the way of our ability to find solutions. But if you go give the same problem to your child, he'll give you the solution. Yeah. So my urge, what I would urge each one of you here is to say, hey, go back and ask yourself, if the company says, let's do 20% growth, ask yourself how to do 50% growth. It's in your selfish interest to do that, right? It's in your selfish interest to think big and then find solutions to make it happen. And to do it at half time. The big lesson is to do it at half time. You remember the gentleman was saying how in 8 months Maruti wanted something. We went and asked for a motor. Yeah, EV scooter is all about battery pack and motor, right? The motor manufacturer, multinational company, MNC, they told us it'll take 2 years to design a motor. We designed it in-house in 6 months. And we make that motor in-house in 6 months. And the girls make it, right? So the point here is, if we don't challenge, the tiger will continue to sleep for another 30 years. The tiger meaning the India as a tiger country, right? If you don't challenge your own businesses, what you do every day, morning, evening, your ambitions are big, but the frustrations are high because you're not able to execute. Right? You have to get into the trenches like we did on a Sunday morning, getting on a helipad, going there, spending time, solving for that problem, right? And I'm sure we can all get there. Yeah? So these are some of the lessons that I've had. I also want to connect it to a little broader area of people and skills and competence and availability of talent, all of that, and how you guys can really help with that. I know Ritvik keeps on saying there's a difference between skills and competence, right? And competence is a bundle of knowledge, skills, abilities, and behaviors. If you just teach me a tool, I will not succeed in an interview. I've been doing interviews of all, from IIMs to IITs to diploma girls. I was there in the first round of 150 girls we hired. Right? Why do we keep on complaining in this country that there are no skills and that there are no people? Right? Everyone complains. Every forum you go to, we hear that there are many jobs, but there are no people. Right? Because we don't spend time thinking through competence building. We teach him a particular tool and he doesn't know how to explain the tool to me in an interview, or he does not know how to apply the tool for something. Application orientation is not there, right? His ability to communicate is not there, right? So the main thing that I'll urge you all to do is to ensure that you build rigor. Why is IIT called an IIT and some Kripanidhi College in Madiwala in Bangalore is called Kripanidhi College Madiwala, right? Why is that quality difference? It's the rigor with which we teach. So what is your rigor? At a center, how do you get involved in building rigor of teaching? Or are you sitting somewhere and you're an investor, and which is fine, but you should have someone who's running the place who's asking those questions, right? The rigor of teaching is important. The rigor of dissemination of knowledge and testing of that. How do we do that is very critical. Second is, before I go to the second, let me give you an example. I used to work with Asian Paints 5 years, 90 to 95, long back. Amazing company. They started in 1942, 43, 4 Gujarati entrepreneurs, again an entrepreneur-led company. Today, third generation sits on the board and they don't run the company. The third generation. Yeah? The first generation is no more. The second generation is there. The third generation is enjoying life and doing other businesses, and professionals are running it. Managing director is a professional. That company, 1988, 89 or something, they started one training program. I joined them in 1990. 1990, I was asked to undergo this product training program for 5 days. An Asian Paints product training program. Why would an HR guy have to go through a product training program of paint and all that stuff, right? Morning was theory, like how I'm saying rigor in theory. Every morning there'll be rapid fire questions. If you don't know the answer, you have to get out of the class. They're literally like a school kid. Come back and tell the answer and then carry on with the class. Afternoon, you're a painter. Whether you are a HR head, CFO, you're a purchase, doesn't matter which function you come from. All of us will have to tie one handkerchief in our head, half pant and a t-shirt, and one full day, Gisau the wall. 6 foot by 4 foot, 6 by 4 wall, right? We had to scrape it like a painter. And then a metal sheet of 1 feet by 1 feet and 2 feet by 2 feet wooden, what's that called? Not laminated, you can't do paint on laminated, but what do you call it? The plywood, yeah? So these were given to us, and first day is only scrubbing it and using emery paper. Then you learn about emery paper, you learn about sandpaper, you learn about how much you should sand it, you touch and feel the wall, all of that stuff. The next day you do the primer, first primer, then you do putty, then you clean the putty again, then you do primer again in all of these medium. Then you do first coat, second coat. By the 5th day, we have done our wall, all of us, 15 people in that class, like you have 15 people in your class. We have done the wall, right? And then someone has done competition paints as well on the wall. He doesn't know he's done competition. It's blind, right? So we've done Asian Paints, we've done Goodless Nerlac, we've done others, right? Those days were only 2-3 big companies. And then all of us will rate it at the end of 5 days in the evening, and then every time, invariably, people will rate Asian Paints as the best paint and all that stuff. Right? The point being made is that robustness and the rigor of the theory class in the morning and practice in the afternoon, including for an HR guy, finance guy, supply chain guy, so that we gain confidence about our own product, right? We gain confidence about our own product and then be able to talk to our salesmen, talk to our staff and feel proud about your product. Product leads the org, right? So we feel proud about the product. And this, every salesman went through it, and every management person went through. The entire sales org and everyone in management. Right? So what I'm saying is there's the knowledge piece, and then there's the practice, which is skills and abilities. So I should be able to hold a gun and be able to paint a plyboard, right, or spray paint a metal sheet. So how do you bring that level of confidence in your students to not just theory and knowledge, but also convert that into practice by internship? All that I've heard a lot about all your questions, but what is it that I do in my center which is different from others? There are some things that will be prescribed, but you can always challenge that student to do something more on practice, right? All of this, at the end of it, theory, practice, knowledge, skills and abilities, and the last one is our own attitude and mindset and behaviors. What we struggle at companies when we interview is the attitude and the behaviors of people. Not coming into office on time, being on phone calls morning to evening, right? So if you can teach good habits when they come to class, are they there on time? Do they deliver their projects on time? How to build good habits in today's youngsters, I think every educational institution should do. Because that is what the country needs. Habits are actually bad habits are ruining us. Yeah? So how do I bring in that discipline? If I don't come in at work through our, face recognition, FRS we had in Ola, right? If I'm not in on time, there will be a trigger that will come to you saying that, hey, you've not come on time, including a company, new age company called, Ola and whatnot. Every other company, or you open a laptop, your attendance is marked in a software company, right? So how do I build discipline? How do I build great behaviors? How do I build a learning attitude into students? These are not knowledge and skill. These are all habits, behaviors, attitudes, whatever you want to call that, right? A combination of this helps build that competence in that person. Yeah. So some of you are doing well, who are getting your awards. I'm sure you do something extra than the others. What is it that extra that someone who's getting the award is doing and that the others are not doing? It's also a good way to learn from each other. In the interest of time, I'm going to stop here and take a couple of questions. Happy to chat up with you. I'm going to stay here tonight. Happy to join you for dinner and spend time one-on-one with you. Yeah. Any questions? I hope this is not getting recorded and replayed anywhere else. Sorry. Oh, I hope Bhavesh is not listening. Yes, guys, any questions? I thought I woke you up.
So, wonderful. Thank you very much. And because you worked with some great entrepreneurs, and this room is full of entrepreneurs with varying aspirations. This is one of the questions that people come and ask me, saying, do you ever feel down? And when you feel down, how do you pull yourself up? And they justify it by saying, you're also human beings and so on. I have my own answer, but I also want to learn from some of the great entrepreneurs that you work with. Everybody goes through ups and downs. From your experience and also the way you deal with yourself, how do successful entrepreneurs and successful professionals like you pull yourself up to keep working on your goals and dreams, even when the chips are down?
Yeah. No, good question. How do you build resilience in yourself? I think that's the one-line question, right? I'll again give them a story, yeah? When I was 18, I started working. I was in Vidya Mandir, like most classmates, we all aspired to go to IIT. I did not go to IIT. And I said, I'm not going to do anything else other than BA Economics. So I went and joined in Jain College, BA Economics, having got frustrated that I did not get into IIT. Right? But second year of my graduation, there was a newspaper article which said, walk-in interview. If you get selected for the walk-in interview, we will train you for 15 days. At the end of 15 days, you will be a different person. So that ad was very different, right? So I said, okay, chalo, chalte hain, let's go figure out. I want to be a different person. I seem to be a very shy. I seem to be very reticent, lacking confidence, all of that stuff. So I went for the interview. I didn't go for myself. I went with two of my cousins and one friend and one cousin. Both of them did not get it. I got it. And I was still in second year of college. And the job was this company called Eureka Foods, right? And this is, I'm talking about early 80s. When the broomstick was 3 rupees, your maid servant was 30 rupees a month. In Chennai, where no one uses a carpet. And you're selling a vacuum cleaner to that person, right? What do you sell that vacuum? And grandmothers, most families had grandmothers with them, and grandmother likes to pocha the floor. She will not walk on the floor if it is not used a wet cloth and wipe the floor, right? And you are selling a blooming vacuum cleaner for 3,300 bucks. Not, the salary was 750 rupees for me. And I was selling a product which was 4 times that, right? 3,300 bucks vacuum cleaner. Now to the point, I think I got trained there to be resilient. One is that 15 days of training that made me a man. Then every time you go knock a door and you don't do a sale, you fall down, right? You have to still go and knock the next door. You cannot pack up and go home. I was told to do minimum 6 demonstrations a day. And if you do 6 demos a day very well, you will definitely get 1 sale. Right? So if you don't do that demo and if you don't make that conversion happen to 1 sale, you will not achieve your target of X, Y, and Z. And when you get your targets, the incentive was so well structured. The first 3 missions is 70 rupees, but when you sell the 4th mission, you get 80 for all the 4 missions. Amazing company. We're not talking about that. But I was there only for 6 months. And in fact, that is the motivation for me to choose HR. Because they trained people so well, they skilled them so well, they taught the product so well, they told me how to knock the door, they told me if a dog comes chasing you in a house, how not to retreat and run. Because if you run, the dog will chase you more. Stand there and look into the eye of the dog. Right? How to get over the security guard. And when the housewife says, thank you so much, no, we don't need vacuum cleaner, how to ask for a glass of water and put 1 step inside. You put 1 foot inside, then she'll get interested in the product, right? That product sold for itself. Like how your Apple iPhone sells for itself. Now they are messing it up. But the product, it's a product company, right? So to Partha's question, my resilience somewhere got developed. Falling down, getting up, falling down, getting up, but I have to do 6 knocks. I have to do 20 knocks to do 6 demos and then make a sale happen. And then you grow up. Then in Standard Chartered Bank, I had a very tough boss, an MD who had very, very tough Sardar from Punjab, topper from Ahmedabad, whatnot. I took to him after 10 days of his journey. He asked for some note. I did a note of that and I took it to him. He tore it, put it in the dustbin. I'm new in the company, he's new in the company. I said, what nonsense, and I could have walked out. Many jobs in HR those days. I stuck around. Evening, 6 o'clock, he puts a sellotape and he brings it to my room, sits in my room and discusses the same subject with me. It's his frustration, right? It's his problem, right? So the resilience to hang in there, that is, I think, something that you need to develop. Or Bhavesh walking out and 5:30 he goes to the lawn, leaving all of us in his room. We are all sitting in his room and he walks out of his room, right? And I've told this in front of him also. So, but the resilience to work with people is very important. But how do you develop that resilience? Each one of us will have our own style of doing it or learning. But many of us at the top, especially entrepreneurs, all of you, will feel lonely at the top. You will feel lonely. There are people who will use HR, like a Bhavesh or that MD at Standard Chartered Bank. Leaders will use HR in large companies, use HR as a person to talk to and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, I'm frustrated with that, this is not happening, that is not happening. We all go through it, right? Or people have mentors or coaches. You can find someone who's a coach. Maybe someone is excellent here, year after year, he's getting awards. You want to call him and ask him, hey, how are you doing it? Where do we fall? We all fall because we're not succeeding, right? We're not making our numbers, right? So you can pick up the call and build a network. That's why you're all here. It's best time to build networks and get to leverage each other's strengths, right? So that is another way of doing it. So it's important for you to find your own, someone who's a spouse could be a champion at home, yeah? Whenever I used to struggle at work, failures and all of that stuff is all because our inability to deal with disappointments and frustrations and whatnot, right? Not succeeding. And I understand it takes time to overcome it, but find a champion, find a coach, find a person in your office, or find a spouse, or find a child who's grown up whom you can talk to, have a meaningful conversation, but find someone. Don't run away from it. Yeah, it's 4:20 already.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, last question from Subramaniam.
Thank you, sir. Challenge the status quo, you might have answered that in the last one. Feel proud of the product. Can you say that someone to something said? No, I want to ask you.
I mean, Eureka Foam's product, I mean, feel proud meaning whatever KK was talking about, right? How you build the product, all the steps that are there for product design.
And one more, rigor of teaching you mentioned.
Yeah. No, rigor of teaching is Asian Paints is a great example. 5-day training program, morning theory, afternoon practice, end of the day, you're confident about your product, right? Building pride in the work. So that comes from knowledge and skills to be able to talk about your product very confidently. There are methods to do it. We can talk about the methods later. One more, I mean, back to Ola. We were not building a scooter. From day one, we said we are building a mobile phone between two wheels. It's a mobile phone between two wheels, right? And one example of it, I was driving on the inner ring road between Indranagar, Koramangala, and I saw one guy on a Ola scooter. I think I still have the video. He was doing this as he was driving. He was holding the scooter on the left hand, and he was doing this. Right? What does this mean? He's not singing. Okay, maybe he was singing also, but he's enjoying the beat of the music, right? The talam, as it is called, right? So that Ijipura construction is very famous, right? So there he stopped at the signal. I went next to him and I said, "What is it that you like about your scooter?" I'm from Ola, so I wanted the feedback, and he was enjoying music. He said, "Sir, the cruise control is awesome, sir." Right? Cruise control in a scooter, right? And therefore, the man who's one of the use case, as you guys call it, use case, he loves his music. He loves his Carnatic music, right? So, like this, we solved for what people would like to have, youngsters would like to have. The product was designed for 23 years, 25-year-olds, but that fellow was a 55-year-old who's driving the scooter enjoying it, right? So you have to have, we're talking about AI and all tomorrow's programs, you have to deliver it for the larger audience, but the elder audience will also come, you know. I still go to Nike to buy a t-shirt or a shoe because just do it, I just love it, right? So like that, there are some things that you really associate yourself with the product. And that is what I mean by building pride in the product, yeah? Awesome. Yeah? Good. I think in the interest of time and not to hold you from dinner, we held you back from lunch. I'll take leave. The ritual.
Mr. Bala, I'd like to invite our chairman to felicitate Mr. Bala.
beyond our authority.